Do not recuse yourself. That was the message delivered to Attorney General Jeff Sessions by White House counsel Don McGahn and several other White House officials last March. A senior U.S. official telling NBC News the presidential aides try to convince Sessions not to remove himself from running the Russia probe. The instructions coming from the president himself, according to the New York Times, orders Sessions ignored.
I have recused myself.
Sessions' move infuriating President Trump, who the Times said erupted in anger, telling aides he expected his attorney general to look out for him, like Mr. Trump said Robert F. Kennedy did for JFK and Eric Holder for President Obama.
It just gives us a sense of how the president sees the job of his top law enforcement official, not as someone necessarily to follow the facts, but someone to protect him.
Ultimately, Sessions' deputy would appoint special counsel Robert Mueller. The entire episode raising new questions about possible obstruction of justice.
President Trump faces both political and legal threats. We have more information available to us about possible obstruction of justice than about collusion.
A White House lawyer declined to comment. Also tonight, word the FBI's resumed an investigation into the Clinton Foundation, focusing on whether donors received preferential treatment from the State Department while Hillary Clinton was at the helm. The FBI's looked into this before, but that inquiry was put on ice during the 2016 campaign to avoid the perception the FBI was trying to influence the election. The president's repeatedly urged the FBI to go after Clinton, his past opponent, tweeting, "Where is our Justice Department?" A Clinton spokesman tonight calling the inquiry a sham, adding the goal is to distract from the indictments, guilty pleas, and accusations of treason from Trump's own people at the expense of our justice system's integrity. And tonight, the Justice Department says that Attorney General Sessions was not invited to this weekend's Camp David retreat, where many other cabinet officials will be present. The White House says the majority of cabinet members are not attending and that it stands firmly behind Attorney General Sessions.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.